Well, look at that. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I see you out there in the internet. My name is Bruce, and I am with the Epic Experiment Podcast, and I am back. And today we're going to bring a little something different to you for a little flavor, flav. So we're going to be going into a little bit of Brawl today, because if anybody's not familiar with Brawl, it's similar but different than Commander in the sense that it's a singleton format. You got a Commander, but it's all cards that are legal in Standard. You start with 25 life, 60 card deck. It's a lot of fun. I rather enjoy it. I find it quite engaging on Arena. So I've been fooling around lots of Brawl decks. And so from the new Stryxhaven set, I've been fooling around with Hofri Ghostforge, this guy up here. So Hofri is 3 white and a red for a 4/5 legendary creature, Dwarf Cleric. And spirits you control get +1/+1 and have trample and haste. Okay, it's good. No joke there. However, this is the part that it really interests me. So, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a spirit in addition to its other types, and it has, when this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exile card to your graveyard. Okay, that doesn't sound that exciting, but it essentially means that when a creature dies, it's going to come right back, and you're going to get the ETB trigger, and it's going to be a spirit, so now it's going to get pumped by Hofri. So you can do a lot of goofy things with either dies triggers or enter the battlefield triggers, which that's good. That's good stuff. So this guy, Hofri, pairs very nicely with a friend who's kind of like a secret sort of partner that you can't really put the partner in the command zone in Brawl, but you could play this guy, Quintorius, 3 white red for a 2/4 legendary creature Elephant Cleric. So spirits you control get +1/+0, and whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. So if you can have Quintorius and Hofri on the battlefield at the same time, I know it's Magical Christmas Land, but geez, let me dream, folks. Let me dream. However, so if these creatures are on the battlefield, what ends up happening is that if a creature dies, Hofri sees it, and when it hits the graveyard, and exiles it to put the token into play. Quintorius sees that the creature that was in the graveyard has now been exiled and has therefore left the graveyard. Now he's going to make you a token. So you could double up on those tokens each and every time. So then, of course, so the triumvirate of dirtiness when it comes to bringing things back from the yard, we have a Luminous Broodmoth from Icorius, a 2 white for a creature that is a 3/4 with flying, and whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. So again, just bringing stuff right back out the yard. Okay, so what does this give us? So you're looking to play a whole bunch of creatures that have got interesting enter the battlefield triggers that you could capitalize on using them twice. So the bottom line is you're using things like Charming Prince, which is good. Farfinder is good. Farfinder actually also doubles as a source of mana advantage. It's not really ramp because you can't play additional lands per turn, but you can pull extra land out of your deck. Helios Pilgrim can get you an enchantment out of your deck. Notably, Banishing Light or Dreadful Apathy. Sorry, it's an aura card. It's only Dreadful Apathy. Sorry. You get things like Pilgrim of the Ages, which is another interesting one. Solemn Simulacrum and Skyclave Apparition are sort of the big ones that come with end of the battlefield triggers. But just getting any of these creatures 2 times over is particularly interesting. All right, you're gonna get lots of fun things to do. This deck also has a pretty strong sacrifice outlet or toolbox because Hofri wants your things to die. However, the problem becomes that you can't rely on your opponent to kill your stuff. So you're going to need to take a few things into your own hands to get things dead. So things like Relic Vial, which is a sacrifice outlet, is an interesting way. We've also got Weaponize the Monsters, which is an interesting way to sacrifice things. And then last but not least, we have this Blood Aspirant over here, which can allow you to sack a creature or an enchantment. So you can sack a creature, get it dead, deal it damage, grow your Blood Aspirant, and then deal some damage. the mana ramp in this sort of format is a little bit tough. All right, so in Commander you have 100 slots, you have lots of spaces. You really only have 37 slots to play with here, so you don't have a lot of easy ways to address mana ramp. So I've got a few. You got your Arcane Signet, which is a pretty obvious way to do it. The other ones are on your creatures. So Farfinder and then Solemn Simulacrum are the two biggest ways that you can and Pilgrim of the Ages, which I really like as a new card from Strixhaven. So Solemn Simulacrum is as old as the day is long for sure. Farfinder also is not a new card. So basically you go and tutor up a basic put in your hand. This one, Pilgrim of the Ages, is new. And it's kind of like, I think I liken it to White's Civic Wayfinder. So 2 and a white for a 2/1. When Pilgrim of the Ages enters a battlefield, you may search your library for a basic planes, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. Seems good to me, right? That's a very useful ability, it's attached to a common. So you want to get your Pilgrim of the Ages, have it come into play, get your planes. If you can land Hofri, then you want your Pilgrim of the Ages to die, so that you can now use Hofri's ability to bring it back as a token and get the land again, so it helps you keep up or maybe even pull ahead on mana. Other things that are particularly interesting in here, you get things like Outlaw's Merriment, which is a fun card, to say the least. So this is, I know we don't have Assemble a Legion in the format, but this is probably the closest approximation you're going to get, although it's a little bit different in nature. The interesting piece with this one is that, and the reason I included it is because it makes tokens that you can sack to weaponize the monsters, but then it also makes cleric tokens. So clerics play real well with this Relic Vial. So sometimes you're just going to sacrifice the creature to Relic Vial to draw a card, but sometimes you're going to have a cleric token lying around the battlefield and you're just going to kill it and deal with it. Other times you have things like Heliod's Pilgrim. There's a few other clerics floating around the deck. There aren't too many. Some interesting equipment in the deck that you're going to use to sort of help you leverage your kind of small to bad creatures, but that do get larger when they're spirits. You have Shadow Spear, and you have Maul of Skyclaves and Embercleave. These three are going. And Zephyr Boots. These are going to give your things evasion. These are going to pump your team, make them bigger. The killer ones are Embercleave and Maul of Skyclave. Although sometimes Shadow Spear is relevant because it gets something big, trample, and lifelink. I really like Zephyr Boots. I think Zephyr Boots, we talked about it on cast this past week, was excellent card because it's very inexpensive to play, gives your creature evasion, but then on top of it also lets you sculpt your hand, which is particularly cool. All right, so other interesting synergies in this deck. So let's talk about Peripherals. So Peripherals, bronze-blooded, so 4 and a red for a 7/6 indestructible god. And you need to have a devotion of at least 5 in order for Peripherals to be a creature. And other creatures you control have haste. All good abilities. But check this out. 2 and a red, you may put a red creature card from your or artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. So if you have Hofri on the battlefield and Peripherals on the battlefield, you're probably winning. But if you're not, you can now do something like, put your, where'd he go? You put your Haktos onto the battlefield, which is pretty strong. You can put your Quintorius, you can put your Underworld Ragehound, you can put your Blood Out. You can put red creatures directly onto the battlefield, and then when they sacrifice, they get sacked, and Hofri triggers once again. You get your value out of it. So obviously, pretty sweet card. Heliod, Sun's Pilgrim, you're in white. Why don't you play it? There it is. So seems good to me. The removal is a little on the light side, I'm not going to lie. So you're looking to make tokens and have things tussle, but you have a Banishing Light, Dreadful Apathy, Elswith Conquers Death. That's sort of the primary tools you have to kill things. But Weaponize the Monsters is actually a surprisingly powerful little tool. Particularly if you start getting creatures you want to start sacrificing to trigger Hofri, you can start zapping things and killing stuff left, right, and center if you really need to. then if you're looking for ways, oh yeah, no, I don't forget the Kabira takedown. I often forget that as a piece of removal, because if you make a bunch of tokens, now you have a way to kill something large. Probably 4 power, 5 power is probably as big as you're probably going to hit, but that's going to do most things pretty well if you can do it. Last but not least, we have this fun knockout punch right here. A Starnhelm Unleashed is just an excellent haymaker that you're going to play. It's going to smash your opponent upside the head, and you can foretell it for a lot, make a bunch of tokens, and next thing you know, you're off to the races. So yeah, the deck's been proving to be quite fun. It's not perfect, let's be honest. There's probably some rooms for some improvement, but it is a fun and different take on just big old Boros equipment creatures and whatnot, like you're going to get with Cole, for instance, from Kaldheim. Just last set, we're getting some different abilities with Hofri. So I'd encourage you to go give it a try, give them a shot, see what you find out. I think you're going to find you rather like it. I think it's a nice, refreshing take on Boros, something for everyone to enjoy. But otherwise, folks, that's it for today. Thanks very much. As always, come and check out our podcast each and every week. We're on all the best platforms: iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and many others too. I often forget them. You can find or you can follow us on Twitter at the Epic EXP Cast, or you can email us at the Epic Experiment Podcast at gmail.com. Thanks very much, everybody. Take care. Have yourself a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you next time.